features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
We have a grey go-away bird sitting above the hyena den, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
Five, four, three, two, one. You are live, you are live.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Safari Live. My name is Byron, and on camera with me this afternoon is Senzo. Now, Tara is also out on the other vehicle. Taylor has gone on leave, and she will have Craig joining her as the cameraman, and then of course we've got Chantel and Alice in the final control. Now, it is a beautiful afternoon. It's nice and cool, quite cloudy, but we have just approached the hyena den just to have a look to see if there is potentially any sign of the hyena. Unfortunately I don't see any sign of them. I thought we might as well just have a look to see if there is any activity. It's about 24 degrees or 25 degrees Celsius and about 74 degrees Fahrenheit. But look at those beautiful clouds that we have at the moment. So it is nice and cool, and I was hoping we'd have some activity, but nothing just yet. Possibly later. Now, I think what we're going to do is leave the hyena den, and we're going to try search for the Nkuhuma pride. Now, this morning, Taylor and Tara both tried, but I think they moved into a thick drainage line, not far from the Vuyatela or the Gowrie Dam, where the camera is, the dam cam. I know some of you got to see those lions last night. They were around the dam drinking and moving around that area. We heard them throughout the night. Unfortunately, we couldn't find the pride this morning. But we're going to go and have a look and see if we can find them, hopefully. Now, while I get out of this area, let's head across to Tara so she can say good afternoon to you.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on board this afternoon. And I really hope you had a chance to see the morning drive. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'm really enjoying being back here in South Africa. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tara, and for those of you who have joined me in the past, welcome back on board, and I hope we're going to have an awesome drive again this afternoon. We were serenaded this morning by lions, and I must admit, I woke up about 3:30 this morning and could not get back to sleep, so I just enjoyed hearing the lions. So I was a little bit tired this morning, but I managed to have a cheeky snooze this afternoon, so we're good to go. Got sharp-eyed Craig on the back on camera this afternoon. So he spotted some elephants crossing the road, and we're just trying to catch up with them. And we were just debating where they were going, because they were actually going at quite a fair rate of knots. So we were thinking they might just pop out here, but maybe I've overestimated where they might have gone from. Unfortunately, it was going to be too difficult for us to actually go in and keep up with them. So we're just moving, and especially in thick bush like that, the best you can try and do is try and guess where they should pop out. So we were debating whether they went down to Treehouse Dam, but it didn't look like they had come out there. So I'm just wondering if they have crossed over Weaver's Nest. So I'm starting to get to grips with the names again of the roads. I get temporarily misplaced, where I'm kind of thinking I'm on a certain road and actually I'm not. But it's fine, I'm not quite lost. I know fairly roughly where I am. But I think we'll just drive up a little bit and just see if they are coming out here. There was a bull that was trailing them, sorry. Otherwise we'll go back to Treehouse Dam. And this morning we left a male and a female lion who were a mating pair. I think it will be a female from the Nkuhuma pride and the male from the Birminghams. So I thought maybe if they're going to pop out, it would be around here. But they were changing direction quite a bit, so following a game trail. And usually the game trails, if you follow them, at some stage you'll get to water. Depends on if you go in the right direction, of course. So I think while we try and catch up with these elephants, I think we're going to cross back to Byron and see how he's going to get on with finding the Nkuhumas for you.
Well, Tara, no luck just yet. I'm going to be checking a lot of these drainage lines. I'm hoping that if these lines didn't make a kill, now my gut feel is possibly they made a kill in a drainage line somewhere, but if they didn't, there's a chance that they could move around a little bit earlier this afternoon because it is nice and cool. But for some reason, I've got a feeling they've made a kill somewhere in a drainage line and they're hiding, busy feeding on that kill. The lionesses were looking around last night as though they were interested in hunting yesterday afternoon already. Oh, we've got one of my friend's favorite birds over here. A beautiful lilac-breasted roller sitting up on the tree there. It's always nice seeing the lilac-breasted roller, but I've got some other little creatures I'd like to show you quickly, just off to the right, running through the grass. Looks like a family of dwarf mongoose. Always wonderful to see the dwarf mongoose. Look at that. I think they are so cute. It's really, really always great to see them. You can often hear them scurrying through the grass. Unless they come out and sit in the open like that, it's quite difficult to see them at times. The wonderful thing with the dwarf mongoose, so it's the smallest mongoose species we have in Africa. But the wonderful thing with the dwarf mongoose is they're very curious at times. They'll come and have a look and see what you're doing, and if you're a threat or any danger, and they tend to relax quite quickly around a vehicle. So as I was saying with those lions, I've got a feeling they've got a kill in a drainage line somewhere, but we will have a look around and see if we can't get any sign of them. Now, don't forget, everyone, we are completely live. For those of you new viewers, if you'd like to send us questions or comments, you can do it via Twitter. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do it. And we love hearing from all of you. So please send us questions or comments. And I'm looking forward to a nice afternoon. Look how that little mongoose looks like it's dozing off a little bit. Did you see that? Eyes were closing. Looks a little bit like Senzo, dozing in the back. Sinak, you say they are so cute and you love the mongoose. Yeah, so do I. I always enjoy seeing these little dwarf mongoose. As I said, the wonderful thing with them is they're probably one of the more relaxed mongoose species. You tend to get quite close to them and view them really nicely. A few weeks ago, I actually got out the car and sat on the ground. And these mongoose came right out. They came right out and they sat close to me. Very curious. Now, LD, you asked, sorry, is it, Chantal, just read that again, please. Is it true that the mongoose cannot do what? Oh, LD, you said, is it true that the dwarf mongoose cannot blink their eyes? Let's have a look. I think that is incorrect. I'm sure they can blink. That other one was closing its eyes. So, let's have a look. I've never heard of that before. Isn't that cute? Let's have a good look to see if they blink or not. I'm trying to think, I've never watched them that closely to see if they blink or not. We're probably going to sit with these mongoose for quite some time. We need to keep an eye on their face. See, so now I don't know. I haven't seen that mongoose blink. I wonder if they do blink or not. That's an interesting question. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I've never observed the mongoose that closely before, but why wouldn't they blink? I've never heard that before, and that's the great thing about this is you get really interesting questions and things that we've never thought about before. So if any of you have read or heard about the story of mongoose not blinking, let me know, because I am curious now. Sinak, you asked what species of mongoose we have in the area and what is the largest. So Sinak, we've got a number of different species. So we've got the dwarf mongoose, banded mongoose, and I'm saying just in this area. Let's just look at this area for now. Dwarf mongoose, banded mongoose. We have slender mongoose. We have, are there others? I think there's water mongoose in the area, but I've never seen one. And then we also have the largest species is the white-tailed mongoose. Now that's the largest mongoose species in Africa, the white-tailed mongoose. They are mainly nocturnal though, and they are generally solitary. You might find one or two together, but most of the time at night you'll find a white-tailed mongoose moving around by itself looking for food. But that's the largest species, Sinak, the white-tailed mongoose. I'm trying to think, I'll think of other mongoose species. Well, actually, let's just have a look quickly. See if I've forgotten anyone. But I don't think in this area. The slender. Alright, so as I said, okay, we have the banded mongoose I mentioned. I've never seen a Meller's mongoose. I think they're a little bit further north of where we are. Don't get those here. Don't get those here. Don't get those here. The slender mongoose I mentioned. As I said, the water mongoose, but I've never seen one, but they apparently do occur in the area. The dwarf mongoose we know, the white-tailed mongoose we know, and actually you get yellow mongoose too up in this area. Occasionally you'll see yellow mongoose, but the yellow mongoose also prefer slightly drier climates. Up in the Kalahari we see a lot of them in that northwestern part of South Africa, but we do get yellow mongoose here too. But the largest is that white-tailed mongoose. Oh, the sun's peeking through the clouds now. It's really warmed it up quite nicely. It's amazing how just a bit of cloud cover can cool the temperature, and then as soon as the sun breaks through, it warms everything up. Eric, you asked if mongoose make a noise as known as giggling when they're mating. I don't know. I've never seen mongoose mate. I've got no idea. I don't know. I wonder if it's a giggly affair. I'm not sure. I really don't know, Eric. I'm not sure. I've never witnessed mongoose mating, and I don't know. I know those little dwarf mongoose get quite chattery, and they've got a distinct alarm call. I cannot make the sound, unfortunately. It's like or maybe a little bit. Something like that. It's a little mongoose call. But I'm not sure about giggling when they're mating. I've never heard of that before. Ali, the dwarf mongoose do indeed feed on insects. I've seen them many times moving and catching little grasshoppers in the grass and other insects. There's a lovely little bird that we enjoy seeing. So they will also feed on lizards or small reptiles at times, but predominantly insects. And that is the magpie shrike. That beautiful long tail, black and white bird with that long tail, magpie shrike. You can see that very distinct beak that kind of thick, short, thick beak with a quite a prominent hook at the end. That is a distinct beak of a shrike, or bird in the shrike family. Always nice to see them. Alright, well, let us continue our search for lions. And shall we go and find out from Tara if she managed to catch up with that herd of elephants she heard?
Yeah, unfortunately we had to give the elephants up as a bad job. The elephants actually were crossing at quite a rapid rate, and unfortunately it was just so difficult to actually get in front of them. We caught up with them at Chelapan, but they were still going pretty fast, so we think possibly they were trying to get away from the bull that was trailing them. And he was a little bit aggro. He kind of, we were quite far back, but he stopped and had a bit of a smell of the air, and he just had that posture of, he just looked aggro. So we thought, you know what, we'll just leave them to it. We just don't want to get muddled up with whatever's going down there. So they've carried on past Chelapan, and I think the females were just trying to get, because they had quite a few youngsters with them. I think they were just trying to get out of his way. And unfortunately he was trailing them pretty well. He was well on their heels. So what we're doing, we're going to go back to where we left the pair of lions this morning and see if they've actually made use. There's actually quite a nice breeze coming, even though the temperature's still quite warm. It is quite a nice breeze, so I'm hoping they might be sat up with the face turning into the breeze. I know the female was seen drinking just before they went down to rest in the shade. So it's not likely they've moved very far, but it'd be nice to see if they are still around that area and maybe try and catch up with them, see if they are going to mate while we're there. Let's say it all depends on when the female is ready to mate. And if she's not ready, then the male will know about it. But I was asked this morning about, so for those of you who weren't able to join us this morning, I was talking about the mane colour, and that females tend to go for lions with longer manes over shorter manes, and they tend to go for lions that have darker manes rather than the golden manes if they have the choice. And I was asked what actually controls the coloration, the amount of melanin in their mane. So I said I would actually try and dig out the paper that I remember reading a long time ago that was talking about all this. And I found a different paper that was actually going into what could control the amount of melanin. And it was actually confirming that the shorter manes do show a lack of fitness. It's actually been shown to be linked to having an injury, so they're just not fit. So having a long mane can show fitness because it's going to be reducing the amount of surface area to lose heat from. So if they have a lot of hair all over their neck, they're just not going to be able to lose heat, so that's going to put them under a lot of stress, especially wildebeest, especially when it's hot temperatures. So that's a way that they can actually show how fit they are, so by having this thick mane and dark as well. So the dark colours actually absorb the heat, so that can actually increase their temperature as well. And they the end of this paper, they weren't really sure still if it was nutrients or the amount of nutrients that the animal has, but it certainly seems to be linked to the amount of testosterone in the body, which again, if they've got a lot of testosterone, they're going to be fit, they're going to be quite dominant, so having a dark mane will show that dominance as well. So that was quite an interesting read. So we have the wildebeest here, or wild cow as it translates. also known as the brindle gnu. The gnu because of the sound they make. It's like, sounds to me like a motorbike starting up. Like, vroom, vroom. A little herd there. So some of those females should be pregnant. They'll be dropping them around the rainy season, so when the rains come around October, November, December time, that's when they should start giving birth. So some of the youngsters there, you might have just noticed some had little sort of devil horns, if you like. So they shoot up and then they'll start growing out. So you can sort of tell the yearlings from the other adults as well. But it looks like they've gone into the thicker bush, so we're going to carry on. The lions were somewhere up here. We've got to look for our vehicle tracks because they were into the bush. So we had quite a lot of fun bunder bashing this morning. Luckily, Rusty was the trusty vehicle. I'm quite impressed with Rusty. Not as good as Jigger. So I think we're going to head back to Byron and see if he has managed to find anything, and in the meantime we'll try and look for these lions for you.
Well, not yet, Tara. We also in search of lions. The problem, I think, is that if these lions are in a drainage line somewhere, it's going to be very difficult for us to find them unless I send Senzo in to walk the entire drainage line, which I may do, and he will then, judging by his screams, I'll probably find the lions. No, well, we'll see. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we pick up on some tracks of them heading in a direction. If we can just get a direction, we might be able to find them. I'm going to be looking for birds too. So my theory is that if these lions did manage to make a kill, if we have a look for tawny eagles and bateleur, they will often head towards carcasses to try and scavenge before vultures arrive. But we will also have a look around for vultures. If there are any vultures perched up in trees, there's a good chance that these lions did make a kill and may help us to find them. So we will try and do our best and have a look around. So far it started off fairly quiet. Oh. Now look what we've spotted straight ahead. It's a zebra crossing. That joke has been used far too often. I do apologize, everyone, but it's always nice to see a zebra. Hyena and some impala and inyala. Look in the background. There's also some inyala through there. Now, Ilana, you asked if I keep a bird list. Oh, wonderful. There's a male and a female. A variety of stripes, everyone. Look at that. And then an impala just felt like it was being left out and it showed up on the screen. But a variety of stripes. How wonderful is that? No, sorry, Ilana, you were asking if I keep a bird list. I do. And Ilana, I have been terrible because I've not kept it up to date very well. So I cannot, for the life of me, I can't remember what number I am on at the moment, but I will sit down one of these days and I'll go through it again and check the bird list, make sure it's up to date, and then I'll get an idea of how many bird species I am on. Isn't this a nice sighting? Oh, that is great. That is great. I thought that was awesome. A variety of stripes, hey Senzo? Inyala and zebra. And there are the oxpeckers, as always, sitting on the animals, picking off ticks. Tony, you were asking if it's normal for a male zebra to be by himself. Occasionally you might get a stallion on his own. However, Tony, we'll drive ahead and perhaps we'll see some females around. Maybe this male has got a harem. So let me creep forward and see. There's possibly some other zebra around. I can't see through the thickets on the side. But Tony, with most animals, often the males, it's not unusual to find a male by themselves. They've possibly been pushed out of a herd, challenged by another male, and they'll move around and wait to meet up with a herd or find a herd of their own. But let's see, there might be others around here. I don't see any just yet. No, I can't see any others. It's just that one for the moment. So, Tony, as I was saying, it's not unusual to see males by themselves, but he'll possibly meet up with a group at some point. Now, it's like I say, male zebra, male giraffe, and if there was any doubt that he is a male, you can definitely see he's a male now. Now, Chantal asked, there was another question. Sorry, Chantal, who was it from again? Adele, you asked, Slay, why do male zebra kill foals in herds? Now, Adele, occasionally, and it does happen with other animals too. Lions do it, leopards may do it with offspring that does not belong to them. You need to remember that's probably a male zebra that's come into a herd, and he would have challenged. There's a nyala all moving through that thicket there too. So those male zebra will challenge one another for dominance over a herd, and they will try and then mate with the females. Now, the reason why the males probably kill the foals is to then force the females into estrus a lot quicker, so that they may mate with them and have their offspring. That's same with lions, same with leopards. If it's not their offspring, the idea is that if they kill those cubs, it will then force the females to come into estrus a lot quicker. Not necessarily immediately, but then naturally they will come into estrus, and those males will be able to mate with the females, and success in nature is having offspring. That's basically what it comes down to. So that would be my guess and my theory is why zebra kill foals, zebra stallions, and I'm almost certain that is why, so that they can then mate with the females. There's a little snort from an impala behind me. Chitty Chatty Meg, within most herds, it is generally one dominant male that will stay within the harem. He'll probably tolerate younger males. Now there's impala alarm calling, but I don't think it's serious alarm calls. They're moving around, looking in different directions. I don't know if they've smelt something, perhaps. We'll have a look around. But it doesn't sound like serious alarm calls. Could also be males. Males are funny. They will alarm call to try and get the females to stay closer to them. So the females think there's possibly danger, and they'll get the females to stay a bit closer. I'm just trying to see if it is a male that's alarm calling. I wouldn't be surprised. Younger males. No, I don't see any reason why there would be alarm calling, and the rest of the herd's very quiet. So as I was saying, success in nature is to have offspring, and with those males killing any young that does not belong to them, then they will hopefully force the females to come into estrus so they can mate with them. Now I'm going to carry on. I think there's some elephant at the dam, at Vuyatela Dam. Let's go have a look. I'm not too far from there actually. Oh, it sounds like they've left already, but let's go have a look. I'm not far. Maybe we hear them, and let's see if we can find those elephants. Maybe the elephants help us find the lions. If the elephants smell or pick up on the scent of the lions, we know that elephants don't like predators being around, especially lions. Found the elephant, everyone. There we go. Oh, wonderful. Looks like a lovely herd. Now, I'm going to sit quietly. I'm going to stop, and it looks like they might approach us. Oh, you can see they've definitely been splashing in the water. And obviously had a drink. There they go. They're moving quite quickly. Now, I would guess it's because it appears as if there's a male following the herd. Now, sometimes males can cause a bit of unrest in a herd. You see, and that's a younger male. He's not a big, but he's definitely pushing this herd. And that's why they're moving very quickly. Have a look at this. See those youngsters? The females get a little bit nervous. And you'll see, watch the male come through behind them now. He's moving quite quickly. And I think that's why those females are moving off. Very brief view. I don't think we're going to be able to follow them. And also, I'll tell you the other thing is, sorry, they just try to get one more glimpse of that male following them. Very brief view, but you can see that herd was a little uneasy with this younger male following them, and the males can cause, as I said, a bit of unrest within the herd. Now, I said I'm not going to follow them now. I'm not going to try and stick with them and view them, because also if you can see that a herd is uneasy, there's no need to push and try and get closer to them, because that's often when you can aggravate them, and then something could go wrong. And remember, I've spoken about this a number of times. You need to have sensitivity when viewing animals, and you need to understand certain times animals might be a little bit uneasy and not comfortable with the vehicles around. The best thing to do is rather leave them alone, because in future you'll probably avoid any bad situations, any aggressive signs from the animals, especially elephant. If you rather leave them, then they'll know that there's potentially no threat, no danger. There's no need to try and follow those elephant now and try to get closer to them. Again, it's just from a sensitivity point of view, I think something important. Sinak, you asked if females or males lead the elephant herds. It's generally the females. It's a matriarchal society, so the matriarch, an elderly female elephant, will lead the herd. That's generally what happens. And excuse me, I'm just listening to Game Drive channel quickly. But as I said, the males will often go into the herds, especially when they are looking to mate, and that sometimes causes the females to get a bit nervous, and they try to move the herd away quite quickly, try to protect the youngsters, because sometimes males can get a little aggressive if the youngsters are around when they're trying to mate. But like I said, it is a matriarchal society. The females decide the best route for the elephants to take, where to look for food, where to look for water. The temperature definitely has dropped quite a bit already. And Yala just ran across the road in front of us. As I said earlier, it was about 25 degrees Celsius or 77 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not so sure if I agree with that completely. As soon as the sun drops behind the clouds, it definitely seems a bit cooler than that. But I'm not a weatherman, so it's okay. I'll believe what I'm told. Now, I wonder if we... Alright, well, it sounds like Tara is doing some serious off-roading. And I hope Rusty holds together with Tara bashing him around. Let's go find out where she is and if she's managed to find those lions she was looking for.
Thanks, Byron. And Rusty's doing us proud here. Unfortunately, our lion pair have moved on. So they were over that side. We just thought we'd just try here just in case they've gone to find shelter this side. Unfortunately, I can't see any sign of them. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back onto the road, see if there's any tracks crossing. But I think they're going to still be in this area here. We might have to wait until it starts getting cooler. We might start hearing alarm calls or maybe even them calling them to relocate with the rest of the pride. So I think we're going to go down to the water, see if there's anything around there. It might be that they've gone back to drink. The male, I didn't know if he drank, so he might have gone down. But certainly the female had drank this morning. So fingers crossed, we'll carry on trying to look for them and see what else we find along the way when we hopefully come across them. So we're going to extract ourselves from the bush. But if anybody would like to send any questions in, this is a live drive, so wherever you are in the world, if you're joining us for the very first time, you can ask a question using hashtag Safari Live. That'd be great to hear from you this afternoon. And I may even try and throw in a whodunit. We'll see. Sorry, can you repeat that first part? Ah, hi Casey, welcome on board this afternoon. Casey would like to know what animal I'd like to see most this afternoon. Well, I wonder what animal you'd like to see the most this afternoon, Casey. For myself, I would love to actually see this pair of mating lions because that is something very special to see. It's not just the animal I enjoy seeing, it's actually seeing the behaviour. That's something I really, really enjoy watching and just learning all those little details of animal behaviour you can't get in books. But obviously, while I'm here, I would love to catch up with the leopards. They are my ultimate love. So I'll be very happy to find some spotted cats for everybody. Oh, a little steenbok just here. Lovely dainty little antelope. And that rusty red colour where it gets its name from, Steen. You don't really see them very often, so it's lovely to see. And actually, there was a little steenbok midden. They'd actually bury their dung, so you don't get a chance to see it very often. And I can't remember what made me go and have a look. I think I must have seen the steenbok go there. Because as I say, you don't tend to see where they've gone, so they bury it. And no one's really too sure why. There's theories that if they bury their dung, the scent will actually last longer. There's also theories that actually it will be hidden from predators, but I don't really agree with that, because, you know, what's the point in hiding the dung from predators if the animal's not there? So I'm kind of going with maybe the first theory, but even so, when it's dry like this, it's going to dry out anyway. So I think it's still a case of no one's really too sure why. But this is obviously a territory, and it's obviously still being held. Hi, Charlie. Saying wild animals are hard to spot. They really are. Especially the spotted ones. Very hard to spot. So we're actually opposite where we were in the bush. So just keep trying to keep a really good lookout. We might be lucky enough just to catch a glimpse. And that's the problem as well in thick bush like this. Your brain kind of expects to see the whole animal, and you've got to I shall tell you why I'm laughing just now, but yeah, so you've got to try and train your brain to kind of look for a piece of the animal. So anything that doesn't look quite right, that's a little bit out of place. And it's funny, you do get to know the lay of the land and the trees. And there are times where you go, you know what, I'm sure that termite mound wasn't there before, and it turns out to be a lion's head. But I think we're going to cross to Byron, who apparently is looking for anything with a heartbeat at the moment. So good luck with that, and we'll catch you when we get back.
Thanks, Tara. Yeah, well, we'll try our best. We'll try our best and see what we can find. I'm heading back into this area where we saw those elephant. I just want to double check that they didn't pick up on the scent of maybe a predator that possibly caused them to move away quickly. I don't think so, but I will have a look, and I will try and find any sign of these lions. It's always good to double check yourself. Larry, lions generally, I would say they need to feed at least twice a week on average, but it depends. There are a number of factors that need to be considered. How large is the prey that they are hunting or that they have managed to kill? Because that will depend how many days they feed on it. Something like a large buffalo could last a pride 2 days. And also, like I said, it depends on the size of the pride though. Something like an impala, obviously that will be finished within 20 minutes. If they've killed something small, then they'd probably have to hunt very soon after that. There's not a set amount of food that they need daily. It will all depend on the size of the food they've killed, when last they recently killed. Those lions that we saw yesterday, the Nkuhuma pride, they looked pretty hungry. So that's why I think they were so interested in hunting in the afternoon, because they were now starting to realize they need to make more of an effort to hunt. So lions will probably change their hunting strategy from just at night. They will move around during the day too to potentially hunt. Remember, the lion's also very opportunistic. I've also seen lions that are feeding on a carcass and another antelope has moved past and they've got up and tried to hunt that too. So just because they have got full bellies doesn't mean they won't hunt. If the opportunity is there, they will hunt, because they don't know when they're going to get their next meal. So it's very important that the lions hunt if the chances are there, if the opportunity is there. But I don't think there's a set amount of time that they need, that they in between each meal. It will all depend on a number of factors. I'm just driving down here. I want to check these drainage lines quite carefully. You'd think that we would see tracks of a lion if the entire pride moved through the area, at least one. But they seem to be hiding fairly well from us. Now, there were a number of Inyala and impala in this area. There's an impala ahead, and they seem quite relaxed. No alarm calls just yet. It's always worth having a look. Alright, well, it seems as if Tara's decided not to go across any little roads. Hang on, what little bird is this? Let's just have a look in the road here, see if we can get that. What little guy is that? So my head's in the way, oh dear. It's a little quail, everyone. Where did it go? Let's see if we can get a view of it quickly. Hold on. Come on, little quail, where are you? It's amazing how quickly these little quails can disappear. Let me see if I can get another view of them, but while I do that, as I was saying, it sounds like Tara's decided not to use the roads on Djuma. She's purely driving off-road. Let's go see where she is now.
Yeah, I've just done away with the map. So yes, we're just cutting through, heading down towards Treehouse Dam. Still no sign of them, so I think we'll have to, unfortunately, take a look around the dam, see if there's anything around there. Maybe try another dam and see if there's any action around there, and just keep our ears peeled for any telltale sign that something's found the lions or that they are trying to relocate the rest of the pride. So just try to scan the bush for any tail flicking, or maybe the head popping up. But Roshi, I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome on board, Roshi. Roshi would like to know if there was anything particular about leopards. Roshi. Sorry, Roshi. Oh, the Duiker's still there. We just passed the Duiker. So we saw the steenbok. You hopefully saw it was that beautiful chestnut red colour. And now you've got the common or grey Duiker, which can also have chestnut coloration, but generally speaking in this area they do tend to be that slaty grey colour. You can see the stripe, the black stripe down the face there, and not as big at ears as the steenbok. But the steenbok also has black on the face, but doesn't tend to make that whole stripe. So Roshi asking if there was anything interesting that I learned about leopards during my research, or anything this different, I think was the word that we learned about leopards. And one of the most amazing things we actually discovered on the property was a very rare colour variation of the leopards. I was saying this morning about the leucism in lions, so white lions. So this particular colour variant, it is so rare we were struggling to actually find any documentation about it. And the leopard seems to lack black pigmentation, so it seems to lack melanin. So it might have a lot more red pigmentation in there as well, what's called pheomelanin, but it gives this red colour to the coat. So the black spots are actually more of a brown colour, and their coat is more of a rusty orange, burnt orange colour. Their nose is pink, like leopards when they're first born, it's pink, but it seems to be staying pink as they get older. So when we started doing the research on how rare this colour variant was, we actually found there was 5 records of it in India, and that was between the 1900s and the 1960s. And then there was no other documentation until 2012, and that was what they call, they term it strawberry leopard, and that was seen in Madikwe up in the northwest province, close to the border with Botswana, and it was a male, and that's the first one that was documented in South Africa, or in the whole of the continent of Africa. That was the very first time. So the previous ones were all in India. So we found 2 on the property, the small reserve, which was much smaller than Sabi Sands, shall we say. And we had a youngster born to a normal coloured female. That cub was seen about 4 months after we saw an adult female, but it was definitely not her cub because we actually saw it with the normal coloured. So to have 2 animals on this tiny property, now they could actually leave the property, they weren't fenced in, so that's why we wanted to start finding out how rare it was, because in the 10 years of guiding I'd never heard of this particular colour variant, and we asked a lot of people across the country. No one else had really heard of it. We described it, sent a picture, and they were just as astonished about this colour variant as what we were. We did find quite a number of other animals in the same area, in the Lydenburg area. Let's say Lydenburg's about 3 hours west of here. The only other animal that we found was also from the northwest. Now, from previous research, the leopards in the northwest and the Lydenburg area are thought to be part of the same population, but leopards in the Limpopo, which is the neighbouring province, they don't think that they actually interact with the population in the northwest, and that population also doesn't interact with other populations further south. So it's quite an isolated population, and there's no other leopards with this colour that are seen in the other leopard populations around South Africa. So that's pretty amazing, but that's also potentially worrying, because it's possible that this colour variant is passed on through the genes. Unfortunately, as I say, it's so rare. We've actually only found now 18 animals, and that's including the 5 from India. So 18, 2 were on this small reserve. The majority were actually in Lydenburg. I think it's 4 that are in the northwest, including the one from the 2012. So unfortunately, if we're right and it is a recessive gene, it could potentially mean that that population doesn't have a lot of genetic variation. Oh, that was the old road. We'll carry on with where the new road is. So yeah, and that was totally by accident. We weren't expecting to see it, because actually Lydenburg is quite well known for being one of the hot spots for the black leopard. So that's, instead of lacking pigmentation, the black pigmentation, it's actually got too much of it. So if you see it in the sunlight, you'll still see the rosettes on the leopard. We have an impala ram. He was looking into the sunlight just then, which was lovely. No, don't walk away. Now, the impala are actually going to start having a second rut. So they have the main rut around the March-April time. That's when they're going to be breeding. Shall I see if I can try and move forward for you? He's actually turned his back on us completely. How rude. But sometimes the females might not fall pregnant, they might not have been caught by the other males, or for whatever reason they haven't fallen pregnant, so they will have a second smaller rut around September time. So chances are he's holding on to a territory since he is on his own. Otherwise they form these small bachelor groups for protection. So apparently he's in good nick and he's quite happy to defend himself, so he must be quite a strong, dominant male. So yes, we actually did write a paper, so anybody that would like to read more about the strawberry leopard, it's also been termed the pink panther. Its more technical name is an erythristic animal, so that's the red pigmentation. And you get erythristic badgers as well, the European badger. Raccoons as well, you get raccoons that have this rusty red colour. So it's not just found in the leopard. Oh, brilliant. Well, apparently you are in luck. So Byron has found the Nkuhumas, so we're going to cross over to him.
How awesome is this, everyone? Managed to just spot one of the Pride members. But now I'm keeping quiet, I'm keeping my distance. There's some Inyala moving through the bush behind us. And as you can see, this lion's absolutely not interested. But I don't know where the rest of the Pride is. I'm going to move around shortly. I'm just going to wait a few minutes. So there's Inyala. We can't see them from where we are now, but they're just moving through the edge of the thicket. And fortunately for us, I think the idea that we had of them possibly moving around a little bit in the cool afternoon, I think that's worked out in our favor. Oh, isn't this awesome? What a surprise. I'm so happy about this. I was getting a bit worried at one stage. Just shows you, driving backwards and forwards, checking the area, and as I said, I'm sure they're in these either drainage lines or blocks. I don't know if they made a kill. I'm going to try and have a look around this area very carefully. Ah, beautiful. No, you look at those bellies. That belly is still very, very thin. I don't know where the rest of them are. I'm sure I saw another one behind the termite mound. Oh, look, it's a male. Now, I wonder, was this not the male and female that Tara had this morning? And if it is, they've moved quite a distance then. Wonderful, this is possibly this mating pair. So I'm not sure, maybe some of you can let me know, is this the same male and female they had? I would assume it is. Yeah, look at that, oh, awesome. This is wonderful. I'm sure all of you are as excited as I am. Let me move around here quickly. Hold on. Now they're going down to the dam. Now there's a possibility, if there is something, I don't think there's anything down at the dam. Or actually there is. I can see some impala and that in the distance. I'm going to keep a distance away from these lions. I'm going to park in a position where we can view them. And then maybe we're lucky and we see these lions make a kill. Now the problem with this is this male might interfere with the female trying to hunt. So we'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to park where we can probably see them and what's down at the dam. This is very exciting, everyone. You can see that female already spotted animals down at the dam, and I'm sure some of you watching the dam cam at the moment too. Now, let's just see what she decides to do. She may decide to lie down. And she has. Okay. So I'm going to move a little bit closer so we can get a view of them. And that male is not letting her out of his sight. Typical male. Now I'm just going to park here so I don't obscure their view of the dam, and that we can at least have a lovely view of them. So I wonder if this is indeed the pair that was seen this morning. But you can see this lioness does look hungry. The other thing that might happen is perhaps these lions lead us to the pride. But what often happens is the males and females, or a pair of lions, if they are potentially mating, they will split away from the pride for a period of time. Now, if they are mating, I don't know if they definitely are. I don't know if they mated this morning. Perhaps this male is trying his luck to see if the female's in estrus. He possibly thinks she is. Okay, so I know apparently you didn't see this pair mating, so I'm not sure if they've started yet. But once they start, it could be anything between 3 days to a week that this pair will stay together and potentially mate. And then once they have mated for that length of time, the female will return to the pride, and the male may then go on and continue his business with marking territory, meeting up perhaps with the brothers from the coalition, or possibly staying with the pride. Lisa, you say it's a beautiful picture. It is indeed. It is indeed lovely. Now, again, I'm very curious, for those of you who watched this morning, is this the same pair that you saw? Is it the same pair? Is this a different pair? And the only reason I'm asking is because they're in a completely different area to where Tara was looking this afternoon, or where they found them this morning. Not to say they didn't move around, but I just want to make sure if it's a new pair, or if it's the same pair or a different pair. Lisa, you say she doesn't look interested in him. No, she looks hungry. Rise up, you say they have to be mating. Look at the state of her neck. I don't know so much, Rise up. I don't know. Let's try and have a good look. Yeah, I see what you're saying now with the binoculars. Does look like the scruff of the back of her neck is slightly moist, a bit of perhaps saliva. Now, the reason why we're talking about this is because when they are mating, the males will often bite the back of the necks of the female. The reason for that is because the mating process is actually quite painful for the female. So the male does it, one, to try and relax the female, and the theory is that it goes hand in hand with when they are cubs. The females, carrying the cubs by the scruff of the neck. It is said to relax the lion. So the one theory is that it helps relax them, and then the other thing is that it prevents the female from turning around and smacking the male, which can happen because of it is quite painful. And we see it especially with leopards. Leopards, females will turn around when the male does dismount off the female. The female will turn around and smack the male, and it does happen from time to time with lions too. Now, excuse me a second. I just want to call this in for the other vehicles around. They were also looking for lions. Let me just give an update. Okay, sorry, there now. Other guides talking. Isn't that a lovely view, though? Look at that. Beck, you say it's date night for these lions. Perhaps a kill. Moonlit dinner. Oh dear, Beck, you've been watching too many movies. Okay, let me just call this in quickly. Henry, do you copy, Henry? Henry, I managed to locate on this pair, this male and female. They are now just to the east of Gowrie Dam. Yeah, affirmative. Just come along, Mfumo. We're right next to it. I'm not sure who else was looking. Rexon, do you copy, Rexon? Okay, copy, and make your way as a third. Aubrey managed to locate on this male and female, the lions from this morning, and they're just to the east of Gowrie Dam at the moment. Well, this is such a nice surprise. So not the pride that we were looking for, but it doesn't matter. Always great to see these lions. Now, I'm sorry, Tara, I know you were looking for these lions, but again, I'm still trying to find out if this is the same pair. I think it must be, but I'm not sure yet. Maybe Tara can let us know if it was the male with the very light mane. Let's go across, and she's got some kudu she'd like to show you.
So not quite the lions, but at least Byron was able to find them for you. Yeah, unfortunately that's the way it goes, isn't it? They gave us the slip apparently, but hopefully we're going to get some action from them, fingers crossed. So I did hear that Byron was the leopard, was the lion man, so yeah, I think he did well with that. So we found some kudu to finish off our spiral-horned antelope family. It seems we had the bushbuck and the nyala. Fortunately, they just crossed the road, so they're now into the sunlight, but you can just see them disappearing off there. So we had the bushbuck and we had the nyala this morning, so we were just missing the kudu. So these are all the cows, lacking the horns, and they have the little hitchhikers of the oxpeckers on the backs there, you can see. Very, very graceful antelope. I love the kudus. And just amazing how big those ears are. The satellite dishes, as I was saying this morning. And again, you can just see the stripes on the body breaking up the outline of the body, blending into the bush, making it a little bit more difficult for predators to locate them. And if you remember, I was saying this morning about where they place their feet. It's the same adaptation as the bushbuck, so where the front foot was, the back foot goes directly over the top. So it makes them move very, very silently through the bush. And you can see there actually how pointed the face is, and that's very common in the antelope that browse. So they're eating the leaves, so they have to get the face right into the bush and pick off the leaves. You can see she's taking each leaf one by one with the quite dexterous tongue. But if you look at the antelope that live out on the plains, they've got very wide mouths, so they can try and get quite a lot of grass in one bite. So quite a subtle adaptation, but hopefully next time we see a wildebeest, you might be able to see that difference in the mouth shape. And again, just showing how well they camouflage in the bush. Awesome. Okay, well, we have changed our tactic a little bit now. Seems as the mating pair have been found, and hopefully we'll give you some action from that. Oh, that's an interesting question, Rise Up. Welcome on board this afternoon. And Rise Up wanting to know what the range of hearing is for kudu. And you know what? I actually don't know. I've never thought to look it up. Maybe someone can try and check it up for us. See if it has actually been looked into. Actually, ooh. Don't know if you're able to turn around that far, but the kudu was actually looking at something. She had her ears pointed forward, and she's not liking something over there. She just behind the tree there. She might just do that again, because as I say, she was very alert, ears pointing forward, trying to get as much information of what was going on. The wind's actually coming towards us, so she wasn't going to be able to get the scent. Obviously the eyesight's very good as well, There was something she wasn't quite sure of, but she has carried on going in that direction, so whatever it was, she obviously decided it wasn't anything to worry about. Hi Nancy Drew, welcome on board this afternoon, asking who has the bigger ears, wild dog or kudu? Definitely the kudu. Kudu ears are like this sort of size, the wild dog's much smaller. I suppose they're more elongated, aren't they? But still, I mean, kudus, they're just like satellite dishes on the side of their heads. Now the bat-eared fox, they might have larger ears than the kudu. Unfortunately, we don't get a chance to see the bat-eared fox here. They tend to be more desert type of areas. And I've never seen one. That's one of the few animals I haven't seen in South Africa. I haven't seen a black rhino in the wild either, but I have been lucky enough to see a pangolin. That was magic. I was actually watching David Attenborough, the Life of Mammals, in my room in the safari on the reserve that I used to work at in the Waterberg, and it was about 2 or 3 years into guiding, and I was thinking, you know what, this is an amazing creature. David Attenborough was talking all about it, and I thought, they're like gold dust. You just do not see them. Sadly, they're poached because they have the scales, and I think it's like $1,000 for one scale on a pangolin. So they are getting poached quite badly. And I just thought, yeah, I'm never going to see one. And literally, I am not kidding you, a colleague of mine ran into my room and said, Tara, there's a pangolin in the cliff. Do you want to go and see it? I was like, yes. Are you kidding me? So we went up in the cliff. It was quite a steep drive. It was quite an acute angle in some places. It went about 3 kilometers in total, and about halfway up someone actually found a pangolin. And halfway, as we were going up, so about a quarter of the way up, we actually saw a leopard. Now in that area we did not see leopard very often. I think it was 7 in 3 years, and that was one of them. It was quite far away, it was on the rocks, but to see the leopard and then the pangolin was just out this world, absolutely out this world. And say sometimes the bush can really throw something quite spectacular at you, and that was one of those times. So I think we're gonna see if there is any action from the mating pair of lions. I'm so jealous. But do enjoy, and hopefully we will get to see some action, because that is also something you don't get a chance to see every day. It really is some very special animal behaviour right there. So fingers crossed, and enjoy.
Now, Tara, I think for the moment this is just a pair of lions. I don't think they're mating pair because we haven't seen their mate yet. But sometimes it could start out like this, where the male follows the female. Eventually she gives in and allows him to mate with her. As I said, she's still very interested and curious as to what is down at the dam. You can see he's not as interested. He's just resting it for the moment. I was just thinking though, listening to I heard Tara telling you a few stories or for one, strawberry leopards. I know she's written a paper on it, which is quite interesting. Do know about them occurring in the wild, very, very rare. And then of course, just her sight. She was telling a story about pangolin and leopard sighting, and it occurred to me it is always nice and wonderful to meet guides from other areas. We've been guiding for many years and been in different parts of South Africa or Africa, and especially on Safari Live, because they share so many different stories, and it's always great to have someone like Tara come in and share stories from other areas. I know some of you enjoy when I get back from a trip too, listening to sightings that we may have had on our trip, or and it's always nice. And I think Tara, from a research perspective, also brings a wonderful addition to Safari Live, which is mentioning about different genes and that she's done research on within lions, big cats, and leopards. So. Can just hear some male impalas snorting on the other side of the dam, but they're just chasing one another. No alarm calls. Snazzy, now you asked who is smarter, the elephant or the lions? Snazzy, I'm going to go with elephant because they're one of my favorites. And I don't know though. I mean, how do we measure that? Different animals, different role in nature. I would say elephant. If you think of the life expectancy of elephant, the lifespan is much longer, so they need more experience in terms of looking for food, surviving droughts, traveling long distances, looking after family members. And I think with all those ideas in mind, I think, or reasons in mind of why elephant need to live longer, I do think possibly elephant are smarter. I don't know how do you measure it, but my guess would be elephant are smarter than lions. I don't know if some of you are going to be cross with me for saying that. Look, all animals are incredibly smart, and it depends on each animal. They're as smart as they need to be. They're smart in terms of the males know when to mate with the females, they know where to look for food, they know how to hunt, they know how to survive. That's what a lion's job is. Set up a territory, be successful, mate, and have offspring. So in terms of that, they're incredibly smart. Elephant, different niche, different role in nature. So elephants are smarter for different reasons. I think that'll be my answer. Excuse me a second. Let's head across to Tara quickly. I think she's at a dam. Let's see if there are any birds around there. Hey, Fir, make your way straight in.
Oh, welcome back everyone. And Eagle-Eyed Craig has actually just spotted the 2 chicks from the blacksmith lapwings. So we've got one just in the water at the back, and then the other one was actually just in the foreground. I think, yeah, it's just gone behind the sandbank there. Oh, there it is, yeah, just in the left of the screen. Very, very cool. So you were saying these are about 2 or 3 weeks old, is that right? Bit older? Oh, we haven't seen them for 2 or 3 weeks. So apparently there was 3, so that's not bad if there's still 2. And the third one might be around still. Now they're quite far away from the parents, but the parents are still around. And I was actually getting quite confused because I could hear the parents but I couldn't see them. So those are the parents there. You've got the black and the grey, and they sound like a hammer hitting an anvil. That's where they get the name from, blacksmith lapwing. But they're still going to be around to protect the chicks, even though the chicks you can see were feeding by themselves. And that's very characteristic of the wading birds especially. So as soon as they hatch, they're fairly self-sufficient. They just need protection, really. That could be the third one then, or is that? Oh no, that one's the other one. Yeah. So we're still just seeing 2 at the moment. So what the parents would do if there's any predators around, they would actually mob. So they would actually take flight and dive bomb any of the predators, try and force them away from where the chicks are. And I have seen them do that even when they're on the nest, and if people walk towards the nest, they'll actually do it to people as well. And many different species will do that to try and force a predator out of the area. And quite often, if one bird is attacking, you'll get some other birds joining in, so it's like a community thing just to get the predators out the way. And it's really warmed my heart to see that the oxpeckers are still using a tree they used to nest in. I just saw them leaving as we arrived, and it's the dead tree just on the opposite sort of, yes, that's the one. Well done. That was great direction from me. Yeah, the opposite. Sorry about that, Craig, but you got it anyway. So that tree, that's where they were nesting in, and I was actually parked underneath that tree, and I forget, I think we lost signal, and there was actually an oxpecker that landed just here from the nest, and I was so flabbergasted. I just thought I'd love to take a picture, but I couldn't, because if I'd moved I would have frightened it. But he just sat here, looked at me, and then flew off. But it's good to see they're still using that tree for the nesting site. So we're going to leave the blacksmith lapwings and continue on. So sorry for leading you down the garden path. Apparently you weren't going to see the mating lines, just still sleeping. But like I've said, and I think Byron was saying yesterday, you might have a flat cap, but at some stage that flat cap will move. But the problem is you don't know when. So it could be any second, it could be an hour. Although when you get mating lines, they tend to mate every 15-20 minutes or so. But as I say, it is up to the female. That's usually just an average. And especially when it's hot, they're less likely to want to use up energy and make themselves hot. And we got some wildebeest here on the right. Just through there, we have the wildebeest again. Looks like a bull. He's got quite a lot of black on his face. The females have brown on their face. Although, again, it's not a steadfast rule. I have seen some very dark females. I think they're just checking to see if it's safe to go down to drink. There you go, you can see the yearlings coming in behind. Yeah, not overly convinced that it's safe to go down. And good afternoon to you, CNAC. Asking why the youngsters have the two horns. Well, they look like little devil horns, because the horns grow straight first and then they'll start moving out to the side. So you can see that yearling there. If you're going to look around, there we go. Oh, look at that, well trained. So that would be last year's young, and then they'll start, let's say, moving out. That could even be maybe 18 months old, 2 years, something like that. There's a smaller one behind that would have been a yearling. And actually when it looked, it was starting. You could just see the curve on the horns. You might be able to hear the blacksmith lapwing actually calling now, like tick, tick, tick. And the birchall starling. And there's one actually in the tree just above that wildebeest that was walking off. Oh, there's the one in the other tree. You see, oh actually, tell a lie, no, I see a yellow eye. That would be the Cape glossy starling. So the birchall's has a black eye and slightly longer tail actually. Just goes to show you shouldn't just take one quick look and assume. Unfortunately, you're not seeing that metallic. I'm just in the wrong position for the sunlight. So what I'm going to do is actually just try and have a nice view of the wildebeest drinking, and we'll try and get on the other side of the glossy starling. But the melanin, we've been talking a lot about melanin actually. Oh, no, apparently that was a quick drink. Okay, I shall switch off and let them cross the road again. I'm wondering if they are picking up the scent of the lion. That's making them a little bit uneasy. But yeah, going back to the melanin, as I say, a lot of animals have that to colour the fur, so it's that black pigmentation. And in the bird feathers, just getting an update on a potential kitty cat. So we'll see if we can actually tune in and see what's going on with that. So I think, yeah, we're going to see if we can hear what's going on, and we'll head back to Byron and I'll tell you a bit more about the feathers of the bird when you come back.
Alright, well, hopefully Tara manages to find some more interesting creatures for us, and who knows what else she can come up with. We're still sitting with this pair of lions that are now resting, clearly. Now, it's interesting to see that they have been moving around for most of the day. That lioness was very curious and watching a lot of the antelope that were down at the dam drinking. The problem is it's very open. So for her to try and ambush or hunt down in that area would be difficult. And as I said, with the male following her, and I've seen this before, when males are trying to mate with females, they often give away their position. They've only got one thing on their mind, and they're not really fazed about food. So the females do try and hunt, but the males then just walk blasé behind them and give their position away. So perhaps the female decided the chances of her stalking and hunting anything when it is a bit open, especially around the dam, it is quite open, I don't think she'd be very successful. So she's decided to rest, and who knows, something could potentially walk into them. I've seen that before with lions resting, and all of a sudden a herd of impala bump into them, not knowing that the lions are lying down, especially close to a dam with a lot of animals moving down to drink backwards and forwards. So that could happen at some point, or they may just end up moving around. Ms. Cruz, you asked about the mating, and if, since the mating is painful, is the birthing painless? I'm not sure. I have absolutely no idea, but I'm assuming it's not very pleasant for the females anyway to give birth to so many cubs. But I don't know. I think it's very difficult for us to tell, but I must admit, I mean, logic would suggest that it is still painful for the females to give birth to cubs, especially if it's 3 or 4 cubs. I'm sure it is quite painful. Steffi, judging sometimes if you've never seen a lion before, you might be able to get an idea of age if you look at the ears, the nose, scratches on the face. Now, I'm not entirely sure which lioness this is. I'm assuming it is a lioness from the Nkuhuma pride. I'm almost certain it is. Now, judging by her ears, they're a little frayed on the tip and a few little cuts, but they don't look that bad. So I'm not sure. I think this lioness is about 4 or 5 years old. I don't know, however. I'm really not sure. So if any of you watching at home have an idea of which lioness this is, for one, and if you have an idea of her age, please let me know. I'm curious. Let's see how close I am just judging by looking at her face and her ears, she doesn't look like a very old lioness. She looks like she's still in a good condition. I would say about 4, 5, maybe 6 years old. But let's see if anybody does have an idea. If you know when these lionesses were born in the Nkuhuma pride, the older lionesses, let's have a look and let's see if we can work it out together. Don't forget, everyone, the comments and questions all sent via Twitter. Hashtag Safari Live is how you do it. We always love hearing from our viewers. It's a bit of a cool breeze at the moment. Temperature's definitely dropping a little bit. Might have to put on a jacket. Right, well, let's head back to Tara while I wait for some of your answers regarding the age of this lioness. Let's head back to Tara, see where she's going and what surprise she has for you.